Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have a really good podcast that I've researched quite a bit. And as I start off this podcast, I just want to say that I think this podcast will resonate with a few of you. And I think you're going to have more questions and want to dive deeper into this beyond what we are able to do in the podcast. And if that is so, and if this podcast resonates with you and you want to learn more about applying the tools, I welcome you to jump on a free 30-minute call with me. I know that sometimes life goes in a different trajectory, or we get stuck, or we just feel like we can't get out of a mental space, an emotional space, a time where we feel like, gosh, I just want to feel like I could get my life back on track, because we're going to be talking about that today. And if you are wanting more, then and also apply what I am going to be talking about in this podcast, feel free to reach out. Let's have a quick chat, 30 minutes, and you would be surprised the amount of juice you can get in a 30-minute call. It can really be a call that gets you going again and puts you back feeling in track and on track in your life. So I want to offer that to you. And I want to let you know I don't have many of these. So if this is something you are interested in, I suggest you book one as soon as you hear this and grab one of those free spots available on my calendar. So to do that, you just go to my website, and that's EpicU, spelled EPICYOU. So epicu.com. Up in the right-hand corner, you're going to see a pink button that says schedule a call. Just click there, pick a time that works for you, and boom, it's done. There'll be a few questions that I'll ask before we hop on the call together so that we can maximize what you want to talk about and what you want to get out of that 30-minute free session. So feel free to book a call if this is really an area that you're wanting help in right now. So with that, we're going to dive in to this juicy, juicy topic today. And it's been coming up a lot. I always get the best ideas from either my friends, my clients, where I'm hanging out. And a lot of people, I mentioned it before, it could be a midlife thing. It could be what's going on politically or environmentally or out there in the zeitgeist. But some people are really feeling like stuck. They're feeling like I had so much clarity and everything was going okay. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't. And some people can pinpoint when it started not feeling good, and some people can't. And so I'm calling this podcast like what to do when you feel like life is not going what you planned, when things feel off track, when maybe it's even bigger than that. Like you feel just life is giving you a bunch of lemons right now, and you're just like, what do I do with this? I'm just in this funk. I'm just in this space. I can't seem to make sense of it. Some people have referred to it to me as like, I just feel like I just need to wait. I'm just in this waiting period. And I'm not against a waiting period, but let's make sure you're not just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And when you could be taking some action that's actually going to help you get out of this space that doesn't feel good right now. And you actually desire to be in a space that feels better, or feeling like you have clarity to move forward. So, we're going to talk about how to do that. And I'm going to give you a framework that we're going to mention that is science backed. But before we get there, I just want you to think about, are you feeling on track in your life for what you want for it? That could be in your health goals. That could be in your financial goals. I know some people are going through some financial difficulty at the moment, or there's been a downturn in their business, or just things are shifting and they don't know maybe how to shift their businesses, or their income is affected by it. I've been around people who all of a sudden some of their friends are starting to come down with conditions or diagnoses, and it's feeling a little heavy on them, and they feel like they're carrying some of that emotional burden or that emotional weight. It could be the opposite too. It could be like, we are so busy this summer. I filled up my summer calendar, and I'm just looking and going, oh my gosh, I'm already feeling like summer is here and going to be gone because my social calendar is so filled up. And I don't know if I feel filled up by that. I feel like I'm just doing and doing and doing, but I'm not getting the fulfillment and the satisfaction from these things like I used to. It could be a setback that you've had. Maybe you're dealing with a loved one or parents or issues that come up around there or a health scare, as I mentioned. But it would be really applicable to if you're just not feeling that you are currently living life like you thought you would. So it's like that wonky time. You just feel like life's not going the way you had it planned. And maybe you've been there and you can resonate through that way. It's like, yes, I remember those days, but so glad I'm out of that slice of life right now. And it's not that we can say we can prevent this from ever happening. That's not the goal. That's unrealistic. That's not attainable. And that's like perfectionistic fantasies. But it's about really how do we ride this emotional roller coaster that we're going to be on called life? Like life is going to throw us curveballs. Life is going to give us lemons. And can we take those lemons and turn them around and hit them out of the park? And like, yes, I had this thing that happened. I had this problem that arrived. But you know what? I really, instead of just survived it, I want to give you a framework where you can thrive. That means like you're not just getting by and going through the motions because I know life is too short just to feel like you're going through the motions. And I think I turned to alcohol a lot in the past, right? Just to kind of numb out those feelings and like just go through the motions just to get it done because I believed there was this carrot on the other side that like once I got there, once I collected that carrot, once I collected that brass ring, like I was there, life was going to be good. Life was going to be happily ever after. Life was going to be somehow, I was going to hit this land of satisfaction. And so I want us to look at, okay, we're going to have this emotional roller coaster in our life. We're going to have these ups and downs. We're going to have these times where we feel like, man, we are hitting life and it is so good. And then we're going to have those seasons where we're like, I'm not there. I'm hitting life and it's like hitting me back. It's like I punch the bag and it punches me right back in the face. And so we want to talk about, and I want to give you tools to empower you during this time. And so maybe this podcast applies to you right now, or it's something you want to come back to when you're feeling like you're getting punched in the face or life isn't going the way you had it planned. Because we know life will happen, right? What do they say? Life happens when you make plans, or you make plans and life gets in the way. So, frankly, I just want to talk about a framework that I found to be helpful. I've discovered this framework. I love to research this kind of stuff and science-backed information. And when I've been using this framework, it's helped lighten the load so much that in some cases, instead of just surviving, I've been able to thrive. And I think if it's helped me, then let me share this with you and others, because if it helped me, maybe it can help somebody else. And I want to flourish and thrive, right? That's why I call it like epic living and an epic you. I don't want to just survive life. I want to come out feeling empowered and I conquered something. And yes, that was an area I struggled with, but I didn't suffer and stay in the struggle. I overcame. And that to me is like living a thriving life, a flourishing life. But flourish and thrive, they aren't my words per se. I like epic, right? I came through the epic way. Like I came through the other side and that was epic, meaning I came out the winner. I came out like stronger. Not that everybody else around me loses, not that kind of competitive way, but like I saw where I could have leveled up and played better and stronger, and I did. And I learned tools to help me continue to do that throughout my life. So it's all about, like, for me, being grounded in wellness and longevity and improving my health span, and not just my lifespan, but my health span, right? And how to be healthier, handling mental challenges, handling emotional challenges. I don't think health is just physical health. I don't think it's just your physical body and your physical nature. I think health encompasses everything: your mind, your body, your soul. Are you spiritually aligned? Are you feeling emotionally empowered? Are you feeling mentally like you're able to do the game of life and do it in a masterful kind of way where you're like not the victim, but you're coming out the other side being, yes, I conquered that and I'm ready for my next challenge. And for some people, they might be hearing this and it's like, oh, yeah, to do that, you have to kind of play in the uncomfortable zone, right? You have to kind of play with the problem, play with the what's not working in order to find out how to make it work, in order to find out, I was off track. Now I put the car and the train back on the track and now I'm full speed ahead. So I wanted to do this because a couple of weeks ago, I launched a podcast that said like the one habit that changes everything. And I got some feedback from some of you. You wrote in and like, wow, that was so powerful. I didn't look at the definition of integrity the same way. And now that I see that, wow, I could see how this one habit starts to change things. And some of you have said how you've implemented it into your life already and just the little changes you're already noticing. So I'm loving that that podcast provided so much value to you and you're getting so much out of that. And I think this is like level 2 to that. So we're going to be diving into, the integrity and what we talk about that habit and building on that habit of like self-trust, improving your integrity with yourself, which becomes ultimately self-trust, trusting yourself that you're going to follow through and carry out your word. And what I love about self-trust is it has downstream effects that are positive, right? So when I think about self-trust, it's like, oh, when I can trust myself, I feel into my sense of agency, right? If I'm in charge of my word and I follow through on my word, and I'm trusting that I'm going to follow through on my word, guess what? I see that I have more agency in my life. Agency around my drinking, agency around my health, agency in what I choose to do and what I choose not to do, agency and powerful to feel and say yes to things that feel aligned and no to things that don't. Like if something's sucking my energy and I already know it, right? When I'm engaging with the question of, should I do this? And I'm like, ooh, no, that doesn't feel aligned. That energetically, that's a heck no for me. So I think building and cultivating this self-trust, which builds on that one habit we talked about in a few podcast episodes ago, it fuels your sense of agency. And when you get a sense of agency of your life, like, oh, life's not happening to me, but I'm able to say, oh, this is life. And how can I take back my agency so that I can continue thriving in a way that feels aligned with me and my goals? So it's not only the agency that leads to our autonomy, which feels amazing, right? Nobody likes to get told what to do. We like to be autonomous and get told, and we get to say, oh, I want to act in this way. I want to behave in this way. I want to do these things my way. And this is the way I want to do them. Just like I wanted to drink on my terms. I didn't want anybody to tell me how to drink or what to drink or how to break up with alcohol. Like I wanted guidance and coaching, yes, but I don't want you to tell me that it had to be all or nothing. Like you're either an alcoholic and you're going to go all in or you just need to be completely sober. I wasn't there. At the time I started my drinking less journey, I just wanted a harm reduction approach. And I didn't even know what those terms meant until I realized, oh, we do harm reduction in so many areas of society, and it's acceptable there. But why isn't it acceptable in alcohol? Like we do harm reduction with, giving people who use drugs, clean needles, right? That's a harm reduction. We do seatbelts in our cars. That's a harm reduction. We're reducing the harm of dying when we get in a car crash. And we do harm reduction in so many other ways. But yet when it comes to alcohol, I feel society had this approach. It's all or nothing. Like you're either an alcoholic and you're not helping yourself or you're just have to call it quits entirely, which I wasn't ready for. I would have chosen probably to keep drinking if that was my case. I wanted to learn how to drink less. Let's do that. Give me skills to do that. And then if I decide I want to be alcohol free later on, great. So that autonomy was so important to me. And that's what I provide for my clients too, right? What is your goal with alcohol? What is it that you want? I don't think a lot of people stop and ask us that about alcohol. We just put people in a box and say, okay, it's gotten unmanageable. Now you need to stop. And so I don't think that resonates for everybody. And I think we should have multiple approaches to get to the same goal or to get to similar goals. So when you get that autonomy, that feels amazing because now you're back in charge of your life, right? You become the CEO of your habit, you become the CEO of your life. And my goodness, when you feel like you are doing that and following through on your word, you also get self-respect. I can remember not respecting myself because I wasn't respecting my word. I wasn't following through on my word. And I'm like, man, I follow through for everybody else. It must be the people pleaser in me. I follow through for others. I almost put other people's approval for my actions over my own approval of my actions. Yeah, people approve of me drinking and going all in if that's what they're doing, but I wasn't approving of that. And it's like, just felt like my self-respect was starting to wane. And I'm like, I want to change this. So I want to give you this framework where you can start to cultivate this self-trust, where you can start to say, this is the one habit I'm going to change. It's the one habit that really does change everything so that you can feel more autonomous in your life, so that you can have more self-respect and just feel amazing. In this one life we get, wouldn't you want to feel amazing more of the days than not? To me, that's the no-brainer part of it. It's like we're not doing this out of punishment. We're not doing this to make us self feel worse. We're actually doing this for the opposite effect, was to feel really good about ourselves and to give us a framework to follow so that, hey, when we're in these wonky scenarios, when we get hit by a snowball, something comes out of left field and we're like, bam, okay, this has hit your life like a, like a bomb just went off or a meteorite just came into your world. It's like, oh, instead of suffering in like confusion, now you have this framework to turn to. You can just say, oh, okay, life's gotten cloudy or confusing. Let me go to the framework. Let me use these tools to help get me back on track. And what I say to that is like, yes, can I have another? Yes to more of that. Yes, yes, yes. I love a framework. I love knowing I can turn to something when my brain goes wonky or gets off track, and I can just look at something and follow a framework that has been scientifically proven to work. It's not, oh, that worked for somebody else, that worked. No, there's multiple studies showing that this framework works. So there's 6 parts to this framework, and it's about cultivating your self-trust, right? Following through on your word. If you have your values listed down and integrity is in the top 3, you want to be somebody with great integrity. You want to be an integrous person, and that is in your top 3 value list, then this framework will help get you there. And I love this framework so much because, like I said, in just the few times I've been leaning on it and implementing it into my life, I've noticed some changes where I don't feel stuck and I feel like I have a path forward. So let me go through this framework. And so if you're driving or on the podcast or watching, you might want to just note that I'm going to be going through a framework, or if you're at your desk and can write down some notes, you might want to jot this down so that you can have this framework too when life throws you off track. So here are the 6 parts to cultivating self-trust, and they're in order. So I like them because they kind of follow this order that you should follow them. So the first is to be aware of your thoughts and emotions. I want to say that's a huge step, because a lot of us, when we feel terrible, what do? We want to stop feeling terrible. So we turn to things to make us stop feeling terrible. We numb out. We want to escape. We want to scroll on social media. We want to have a glass of wine or another or another. We want to hit the pantry for something sweet or something to eat or something to crunch on or something sweet or savory or something salty just to make the pain go away and let me feel the deliciousness of the saltiness or the savory thing or the sweet thing so I can push down or tamp down those emotions. How many of us do this? Or we go shopping on Amazon or we go shopping somewhere else, right? We're just distracting ourselves, are not willing to look at what we're thinking and what we're feeling as if it's some boogeyman, right? It's like if we don't see it, we don't have to address it, and we're just going to keep running away from it. Well, if we keep running away from ourselves, we keep running towards something else. We keep running towards alcohol. We keep wanting to run towards food that's not serving us, or towards activities or behaviors that aren't benefiting our life. We're really not feeling amazing, and it's not raising our self-trust, and it's not raising our autonomy to stay away from it, and it's not raising how we feel about ourselves. It's actually taking away from the vibrant life we could be experiencing if we had the tools to know how to do that. And so getting in touch with your thoughts and emotions is not to say, oh, I feel bad, I'm just going to continue to feel bad for the next 6 months. I'm not saying that. I'm saying understand what is causing you to feel bad. What are the thoughts? What are the emotions that keep coming up? Why are those emotions there? They need to be dealt with. Your body wouldn't be sending you emotions if they weren't like flags to say, hey, look at me because I need some attention in order to go away. So if we're like burying our anger from 30 years ago and we keep needing alcohol to keep bottling it and bottling it and bottling it and bottling it, eventually we're going to need more and more and more and more and more alcohol to do that. And then what happens? Alcohol stops working. And then the anger just explodes out of us because we never dealt with it. We never looked at it. Whatever it's about, or the trauma, or the disappointment, or the bad decision, or I don't know, whatever has happened that you can't forgive yourself or you can't process in a way that helps you feel restored back to health, emotional health, mental wellness, right? So that we don't need these outside factors. We don't need to keep running away from the boogeyman. I want to just tell you the boogeyman, that could be processed where we don't have the boogeyman chasing us anymore. But it requires us to really look and evaluate our thoughts and our emotions, right? So if we aren't willing to do that, we don't even need to give you the next 5 steps because they're not going to be that helpful. You need to be able to start at step 1 and say, I'm willing to get coached on this. I'm willing to get therapy on this. I'm willing to look at this. I'm willing to work through this so that I could be free of it. I mean, just think, I worked through the alcohol thing and now I'm free of it. It feels amazing to come out the other side, but it did require work. It did require looking at my thoughts and my emotions. Okay, so the second step of building and cultivating self-trust is having courage to stick to your core values. I've mentioned several times, and in my top 3, definitely health is up there. And when I was drinking 30 plus drinks a week, that wasn't congruent with health. I knew that. I knew the stats. I knew it can burn out your liver. I know it can disrupt your brain. I know it can cause premature aging. I know it causes weight gain. I know it causes inflammation. I mean, you look at a drinker and you can just see it in their face, right? Like you can see it. When you give up alcohol for just a week or 2, you'll notice your face looks so different. Your friends may even notice, like, what happened? Did you get Botox? What happened? Like you get color back. You just look different. You look happier. You look more refreshed. Alcohol wears us down. Other things do too if we keep carrying them. So having courage to stick to your core values. And that's why I'm all about a values exercise. I do a values exercise inside of Epic U for anybody coming in to Drink Less Lifestyle. You get the values exercise because it's really important for you to know what you're about. Hey, maybe health isn't a big core value for you. That's okay. But what is? I think you should know about yourself, right? And that process of learning, because when you understand what your values are and what motivates you, you can tap into that. See, I knew health was important, but I was using it as a demotivator rather than using my values as a motivator. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that until I went through the values exercise and I was seeing how I was using it to demotivate me rather than motivate me to get to the place where I wanted to be. Very important. Number 3, expressing yourself honestly. This is so hard. This is so hard. And it sounds so silly when we say it to others, but man, when you're in it, it is so hard. Do you know how hard? I mean, like impossibly hard it was to tell my friends that I wanted to drink less. I mean, I couldn't even think about doing that. I think I'd be laughed at. I think they'd be asking me questions, which, do you have a cancer diagnosis? What's going on? Why are you doing this? Whoa, that's so silly. Why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. Are we going to lose our friend? Are we going to lose our drink buddy? Like I had so much trouble expressing something so minimal like that. Now I have no problem, but I had to learn how to express myself honestly and say like, oh no, I'm good at 1. Thanks. I don't want any more. Like, why is that sentence or 2 so difficult to say? But when you've been drinking a lot of your life, it's almost like foreign. It's like saying like, I could do a back handspring and a double tuck and land with a perfect 10 landing. It's like, wait, what? What did she just say? That was like crazy talk out of her mouth. Right? So it's like, I would never say those words. Like, who is that speaking? But what I so desperately wanted, that was my truth. And I had to express myself honestly. And a lot of times, the hardest part is expressing yourself honestly to yourself. The easier part is once you do it to yourself, it's easier to say it to others. But man, just expressing who you honestly want to be, that could be so hard. And it's so hard is because society has told us who to be. We should be the straight A student. We should be the person who's always kind. We should be the person who's super generous. We should be the person who doesn't let other people down. We should be the person that goes with the flow because, we don't want to be high maintenance and stick out and be like the person that, when they go home at the end of the night, you get talked about because you asserted yourself too much. And that's not very womanly and that's not very polite. And like all of these things. And like, it keeps us not expressing ourselves. We just kind of like damper down and we just think we have to fit in. And this is what we think means to fit in. And then it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm in a cage. I'm almost too caged because I'm not able to self-express. I'm not able to self-express to myself or to others. And what does that look like? And how can I do it in a way where I don't make others feel bad about them? Right? I'm not saying express yourself and be demanding and arrogant and a jerk. I'm saying express yourself because it's freedom and what you truly want and now how you want to show up in your life. Hey, what's worked for me in the past? That was awesome, guys. Thanks for all those memories. That was so much fun. Going forward, yeah, just going to do away with some of the alcohol and I'm going to feel amazing. Yeah. If they're truly your friend, who wouldn't be like standing up and say, oh man, that's pretty awesome. Good for you. If they're truly your friend, right? But expressing yourself honestly, this is what I help a lot of women do in my programs is because maybe they really want to lose weight, but they feel vain for saying it. Maybe they really want to be stronger or be more assertive in a certain relationship or with certain people or parent differently. I work with a lot of moms who are like, I don't know how to parent this. So we're not even on the drinking thing. We're on some other topic or the weight loss thing. But in my programs, it's like, I would feel so much better about myself if I knew how to parent this. Yeah, it's a way to express yourself. And it's not about putting others down, and it's not about making your kids feel worse or your husband feel worse or others feel worse. It's about you getting in touch with you. That self-expression, oh my gosh, that's what feels like freedom. And then from that, you can cultivate that and turn that more into developing that skill so you can develop your trust and your integrity. Because now who you show up and how you show up comes out your mouth and it comes out of your actions. And that's when you're fully aligned, my friend. That's when we know that it's now a new habit. And constantly talking with the women I help. It's like, we know it's a habit when your thinking, your feeling, and your actions are all aligned. And you're like, yep, that felt so good. It didn't feel like deprivation. It didn't feel like I did it for you or for my spouse or for somebody else. I did it for me. I walked in my truth and that felt amazing. So expressing yourself honestly is number 3. Number 4, knowing when to prioritize your well-being over everybody else's. Ladies, when my mom got sick, I couldn't prioritize my well-being over everybody else's, right? I wanted to prioritize my mom. I came second. But then you know what that means? I did come second. That doesn't mean my husband came second, my daughter came third, and I came fourth. I knew the ranking and I communicated that and I expressed myself openly. And I said, here's what I need to do. Here's what I need to focus on. And this is going to take all of my brain power. So whatever is left goes to me in just this small season of life. It is amazing when you have a support system where you can do that and say that. And I will tell you, when you do that, the people around you want to support you because now they know how. Now they know not to turn to you for, where's this mom in the kitchen? Nope, don't call me. I don't want to talk about it. Right? That's for dad. That's for you to figure out. Sherry needs to work on Sherry. I need my well-being intact. And ladies, give yourself that permission to do that for you. Maybe you're first on the list. Maybe you get second on the list, right? But when you need it, you prioritize it. And it doesn't mean you do it forever and ever. It means I need it for this season of life. Maybe you need it for a week. Maybe you need it for 2 weeks. Maybe you need it for a month, whatever it is. Maybe you don't know the time frame. Maybe you just need to start with 2 or 3 days and feel into it. But man, you've got to really learn when things aren't going well for you and you're off track that you need to schedule yourself and prioritize that. Number 5, be confident that when life throws you lemons, yep, it will. And you can hit them out of the park. Yep, just because life threw you some lemons doesn't mean you sit there and sulk and self-pity and doubt and all of that. Give yourself some time, set a timeline or a timer, and then say, okay, I'm going to give myself time to do that. And then boom, we're going to start to hit those lemons out of the park. We're going to start conquering that because I'm a winner, not a loser. And if you don't like those terms, you can use other terms. I want to be the hero of this story, not the villain or the victim. So how am I going to use this, get through this, and then come out stronger the other side? I love telling myself that. Okay, it's a problem. We're going to come out stronger on the other side. There's something to learn here. We're going to handle life because that's what life does. It throws you some lemons, it throws you some curveballs, and we're going to learn from that and come out the other side. That's why I love calling myself a problem solver because we're going to have problems come in life. And 6, pursue your dreams without letting others or yourself get in the way. So good. So good. I think the steps above step 6 talks about how to minimize letting yourself get in your own way, right? But also watching that others don't steal your dream or take away your dream, right? And protecting that goal, that passion, that satisfaction, that joy, that whatever's lighting you up, that you protect that. And you keep pursuing more dreams if you have more dreams, right? And you keep dreaming and allowing yourself that space to dream. Because if we can think it, a lot of times we can achieve it. And having that space to dream shows that you're using a different side of your brain that gets to activate and think about so that you can have this in your life one day. We create things twice in life, once in our head and then once in real life. So allowing yourself to dream and keep pursuing those dreams without allowing others to get in your way. And also watch when you get in your own way. And this is the power of community, right? Having women around you or a support system that is like, I'm for you. And I want to see you thrive. I want to see you really get to your dreams and your goals. I think the power of community is so important, whether that's somebody around you live or whether you have to get that virtually or whether you join a group to do that. But really having your tribe that's going to be there to support you is so powerful. I think we can get so far on our own. I do. But I also think when we think it's just relies on just us, that becomes toxic independence. And I have a whole podcast on that, right? That's where I was for a long time. I'm going to figure out this drinking thing. I'm going to figure out this drinking thing. I'm going to figure out and I wouldn't rely on outside help. Yeah, I'd Google articles, I'd read books, but that was still me relying on me to actually implement that. It wasn't until I got coaching and got help that I was like, oh, I was doing it wrong, or this tweak made so much help, and my brain didn't think of that tweak. My brain didn't come up with that. I'm so glad I had your brain. I'm so glad I had your support, and I'm so glad you're not judging me in this process. Because I feel I'm judging me, and others around me have judged me, and I'm just done with the judgment, right? So to have that non-judgmental, safe environment is so good for your soul, so good for your mental state. Because it's going to allow you to see opportunities and solutions that you didn't see before. And it's not that we're dumb or we didn't do enough reading or we didn't do enough Googling. It's just that when you walk with somebody who's been there before, they've conquered a lot of the landmines. They can tell you the landmines ahead. And they're going to say, hey, I like that idea, but here's how we tweak it. Because here's what happened to me. And this is why it didn't work. And it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saving me of that learning, and thank you for helping me along this path. So I love this framework because there's so much science behind it. I could go into study after study after study, but I won't. I'll just give you one. And there's a Harvard study that found that when you bottle your emotions, And over drinkers, right? We can really, pun intended, bottle it, right? So when you bottle your emotions, did you know that there's a 30% increase in the risk of premature death? A 30% risk. So question yourself when the next time you think bottling your emotions is the right thing to do. Because I think a lot of us are taught that's the kind thing to do. That's the responsible thing to do. That's the mature thing to do. Oh, you're a lady. That's the demure thing to do. We bottle our emotions. We don't talk about anger here. We don't talk about what upsets us. And it's not about airing your dirty laundry out there and putting it all out there and like spouting out and shouting at people. We're not talking about airing your emotions that way. We're talking about doing it in a helpful, appropriate way so you can process them so they actually move out of your body and go away. Like my desire for alcohol has been processed so much that I literally have very little desire for alcohol. And most days, absolutely none. None. Doesn't cross my mind. I can look at a bar and I'm not like, wow, I wish I can order a drink. I don't even look at the bar the same way I do in a restaurant like I used to. It's boggling. It's like literally just another wall. It used to be like candy, and I'd like, oh, look at that bottle. Oh, look. Oh, yeah, I remember that martini. Oh, yeah, remember when we had some tuaca and shots and all that? Yeah, yes, yes, yes. And now I'm like, oh, there's some lights over there and some bottles, and it's just like another wall. So you can reprogram your brain, but you got to follow a framework that works, right? And so I love frameworks that are science backed. I love this one. It is so powerful. And cultivating your self trust, my friend, is like so good for our health. I just mentioned that one study about how it reduces the risk of premature death, right? You know, this is health. It's not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's wellness. And I love that so much. So don't think bottling your emotions is the mature way or that's emotional IQ. It's not. You have to get the emotions out. That's part of the process. If you notice, that was step number one, as well as step number three, right? So write down that framework. If you need to, take a screenshot of what this podcast is so you can come back to it if you are on the go and can't get to it. But this framework is so helpful. So helpful. Let me run through it again for you. So 6 ways to cultivate self-trust. 1, be aware of your thoughts and your emotions. 2, have courage to stick to your core values, right? We don't have bandwidth to stick to everything, but hit the core ones. 3, expressing yourself honestly. 4, knowing when to prioritize your well-being over everything else. 5, be confident when life throws you lemons so you can hit them out of the park. 6, pursue your dreams without letting yourself or others get in your way. As I mentioned, on top of this framework, I wanted to mention there's a whole trust process, which is actually action items that you can start implementing. And we are going to go through that trust process inside of Epic You and my programs in July. I'm bringing that to all of you in those programs because if you want to work on this area, which I think is so important and can give you so much success in life and satisfaction, meaning success, not in achievement base, but success in terms of satisfaction and having that self-respect back. We are going to be talking a lot about that trust process in my programs in July. Just want to let you know that is coming. And if you have questions about this, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, if you want to jump on my calendar and talk about this, because you're in that phase of life where you're like, yeah, I just need a little bit more and a little bit more nudge and get a little more juice out of that. A 30-minute call could be all it takes to start to change the trajectory of what you're going through and what you're experiencing and move your life in a direction that you want to be going. And the last thing before I let you go is if you've liked this podcast and you know of a friend in a tough time, or maybe they're in midlife and just feeling like they're losing themselves, or maybe their husbands want to change jobs or something's feeling wonky for them and life is just feeling hard. Life is feeling challenging. Life is feeling not what it used to be. Please share this episode with them. Send them a note. When people are going through hard times, it feels so good to get a text or a little message from your friend or somebody thinking about you, even an acquaintance. Say, hey, I was listening to this podcast. I don't know. I've enjoyed it so much. Yeah, share it. Share it with a friend. Let them know you're thinking about them. Because sometimes that little message can brighten their entire day, can change the trajectory of their week. You just don't know how kindness, can have that ripple effect and ripple out. So share this podcast with a friend if you feel it would benefit them. All right, my wonderful friend, thank you for being with me today, and I will see you next week. Thanks for listening to the Health Habits and Epic Living podcast. If you're ready to take the next step to improve your health, wellness, and lifestyle goals, head over to www.epicu.com and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Again, that's EPICYOU.com. Please note that the information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice.